Okay, sir. आइए नंदिनी मैडम हम 4 बच्चे हैं। हाँ, आप लोग वीडियो ऑन करो। चालू नाही का? बेसिकली है कोई एडिट करना पड़ेगा। बरोबर आहे ना विकास? इकडे तिकडे करा, नाही करा ते ना, इकडे इकडे जवळ कॅमेरा एकच दिसते। हा माहिती आहे ना, याच्यावरती एडिट कर चला
Hi. Can you Viva? Good evening, Chris. Can you people hear me? Am I audible?
What?
Okay, you will read questions.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Yes, good evening, guys. Sorry, we are having some technical problem here. So, yes, can we have your videos on? Utkarsh, Krish, Viva, Rachel. Thank you. Congratulations, Utkarsh.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So, how's your IP mat?
Ma'am, the exam was a little bit on the tougher side, but I am almost 75% sure I'll clear the cutoffs at least.
Great, that is very good. And Viva, what do you think now?
Ma'am, the maths section was a bit difficult, but the English was easier and better.
So you people could complete the 3 comprehensions. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
This time they had a surprise element. They gave 3 comprehensions. So it was doable.
Yes, ma'am. The surprise RC was essentially very, very easy. In fact, the toughest of the three was, I believe, the first one.
Yeah, right.
So that I heard the passage wasn't very friendly. Okay.
It was a conversation-based RC.
Good. So Krish, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you have your video on, please?
And actually, my laptop is old.
Okay. So I have shared format. Yes.
Mayur, हाँ 794-196 हाँ वो excellent वो indicate है
Okay, so I was saying I have shared on the group. I have shared. I've shared resume format. Can you please download it and we'll work on that. Okay. Just open the group, WhatsApp group, and download the resume format. Format. So Utkarsh, have you created a resume so far?
No, ma'am, I'm just currently indulged in, revising my academics. Totally, I'm into that.
Viva, I think you do have one.
Ma'am, what did you ask?
Uh, you do have a resume. You used one for your.
Yes, I have one.
Yeah. So
ये बस ना
you are.
बस ना ये हाँ ये है हाँ हाँ
Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So now what you will do is you will download it on your PCs or whatever device you're using, and we will figure out how to fill this up, right? So now it's good to have your resume for because when you go into your interview, you will be requiring. So now, when you have filled up the form, or you will be filling up another form when you get an interview call, and in that you will be giving them your details about your marks, your the schools you have attended, etc. But it is always good to have a resume with you in which you will be mentioning these things. If you see the format that I have shared with you, you have your name. This is coming one words word right now. Okay, you have your name on big bold letters on the left hand side, and you will be putting in a photograph on the right. Right? Now you don't need a very fancy resume. It should be just 1 page long. Right? Basic details. You can have an objective. I've just put in something over here, and the program you are interested in. Here it is just one program, so there is no much choice. So the basic things that you mentioned are your name, your date of birth, country, that is, of course, you are Indian, your email address, yeah, your postal address is not required on this, right? Because postal address you will be anyway filling up in the form. So you don't need to mention it over here, it becomes too long. Your high school, that is, if you the one that you were in the 10th, yeah, and the one that you have done your 11th, 12th from, if there's a change. If it's the same school, then only one school is mentioned. Now, if you are from CBSE, you mention CBSE. If you have changed boards, you can mention both boards. Then you go on to mentioning your 12th standard percentage and your subjects that you have chosen, right? Or your 11th standard percentage. Subjects of 11th and 12th, of course, will be the same. You don't need to mention again. 10th standard, whatever subjects you've taken up. Okay, now here these are not applicable to the standard. Okay, now you will come on to your achievements. So when we talk about achievements, you have to mention something outstanding that you have done related to academics. So maybe you have got an award. Maybe in the 10th you got 100 on 100 in a subject. The school gave you an award for that, right? And of course your school names will be there, so they will be able to figure out. And when you write the school name, remember to write the city or place that you are in. Okay, now academic achievements about 2 or 3 related to 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah, so whatever you've done before the 9th, unless it is something, maybe you have won an Olympiad, right? Or you have done maybe any of the talent exams and you have got a good rank, you can mention this, right? Okay, now achievements when you're talking about co-curricular and leadership positions, anything significant which you can back up with a certificate. Right? Say you have maybe sports related, it could be debates, speeches, any other co-curricular activities like drama, art, it could be any competition that you have participated in, preferably inter-school, district level, national level would be good, right? Okay, and leadership positions, like if you have had any significant leadership position, say you were the captain of some team, you have led a project, a major project, right? Those can be mentioned. Then when we come to community service, usually you have participated in something or the other in school, in the 9th, 10th also. So you can mention that, and everything should be, you have to make sure that one line for each activity. If you have details to mention, then you can go on to 2 lines, otherwise not more than that. And everything should be in bullet points, right? So when we say bullet, and I'll go on to some more details on that. Say you have done an activity, say community service, by say you have participated in the say joy of giving activity in school. Yeah, most schools have those type of activities. So specifically you mentioned your role in it, right? So it won't be only participated in this, but what you did in it. Say, maybe you were the chief coordinator of the activity, right? Or you collected, uh, or you helped in collecting articles, right? So that what you did will come. And another thing, do not use I. I did this. Just like coordinated activities, not I coordinated. Yeah. Avoid using I in your resume. Now, when you're talking about projects and courses, what if there's any major project that you have done, maybe in the 9th, 10th, or 11th, 12th, which could have gone into some competitive level, you can mention that, right? Any extra courses you have done, maybe through school or on your own, or you are doing right now, you can mention, right? So, and when we talk about skill sets, it could be related to, say, any skills you have acquired related to computer science, say coding skills, data analysis skills, right? Other than that, when you have mentioned some, okay, when you have spoken about leadership position, you have mentioned a few, one or two leadership positions that where you had a specific responsibility. Now here you can mention communication skills, right? Do not mention things that are very cliche. Go on to mention things which are important, right? So skill sets, you can talk about your technical skills if you have done something else. Maybe related to commerce or related something related to your subject area if you have acquired something over and above your course. That can come. Soft skills can come in, right? If you have something related to sports and you are very good at it, just and here it will be just one or two words per skill set, right? So this is what your resume will look like. It should fit into one page. Keep the font size such that all your, say, don't go into a very big font size. Keep the font size such that everything fits into a page. Okay? So if you have downloaded, I'll just show you a sample. Can you all see the screen here? Utkarsh, Viva,
Yes, ma'am.
Krish,
Yes, ma'am.
Rachel, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So can you see the screen here? This is a sample of a resume. So if you see there's an objective written, I think this was the same as that we had. Okay. Okay, when you're writing your high school, also mention the year that you attended that particular school, right? So if you say it was the first school, maybe you were in the first school since the first standard, so you can mention the year of the first standard and year you left. And if there's a second school, you may mention the 2 years to show that, okay, from this year to this year I was there. And put it into a proper format. Maybe I'll share the PDF format also with you, so you will know the arrangement. So the grades, the whatever subjects you took up, that will be there. The achievement academics, maybe you got a merit certificate for obtaining 100% and was in the top 1% in the CBSE board. So that is worth mentioning, right? So 100% in which subject you can mention. Then maybe one of the toppers, the first 5, if you are in the first 5, or maybe not in the first 5, but you can say top 1% or top 5% in the class. So if you mention numbers, it makes a difference. So if you mention the numbers, then it is more specific. Now, when you talk about achievements, if you're doing something specific, say this one is written published collection of poems. So just writing poems won't be enough. If you have actually published a collection of poems, or you have entered into a competition, you can mention it. Like skip, like you were a major participant in some particular activity, like this one says skit on empathy, wrote and directed skit on sensitive sensitized students, and highlight role of society in helping the specially able victims of acid attack and drug abuse. So you see, this is something specific and something significant, which you can mention. Then there's a songwriter and singer in school choir. Now, just participating in school choir is not very significant, but maybe you had a major role in it, like you were the composer of the music or something, then you can mention. Otherwise, you can skip these sort of things. Script writing and acting. So maybe you acted in a play. Now, if you see, these are not supported. I don't think these would be supported with a certificate. Now, if you have a specific sports achievement, you can mention. If you have a certificate for it, you can mention that, right? Now, leadership and other achievements. Say this one says nominated among top 3 for Satyapal Award for academics and integrity. Then voted by teachers from 150 students. So that is significant that out of 150 students, you are among the top 3. Anti-bullying team identified reported cases of students. So if you see, you don't need to think about grammar much, but in bullet points, you have to just put forward your information in short. So be very concise when you're writing your resume. It doesn't have to be too long. Are you getting it? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Viva, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
It would be good if you have your videos on. Otherwise, silly boarding sitting in class alone.
Ma'am, due to some network issues.
Okay, now if you look at this one, APA school, CA or CA and PA, that is cultural activity. Okay, another thing, if you mention any acronym or a short form, make sure somewhere or the other the full form has come in, right? Because they won't know what CAPA is. So, or you don't need to mention CAPA, cultural activity, physical activity, captain would be enough. And just mentioning that you were the captain for anything or a group leader for something is not enough. You have to mention your role in it, like responsible for selecting students for various intra-school competitions. Now, if you see, this is talking about intra-school. If you have an inter-school role, that is better to mention, right? And another thing you have to be careful that anything that you mention on your resume, or if you mention anything in the form related to extracurricular activities or achievements, you will be asked questions on it in the interview. So anything you write, you should be prepared to answer anything, answer details on that. Right? So they may ask you, okay, what was your role? Why do you think this role was important? And then they may go on to other questions on. Okay, if you are mentioning school projects, then anything related to something which is important, not just mentioning that it was a science project. If you have entered a competition with that science project, then go into specific details on it. Like group managed group work on sources of energy, research topics, wrote and presented project report, explain concepts to students. Now from what you read over here, does it seem to be a very important project? Yes, Utkarsh?
Yes, ma'am.
Does this seem to be a very important project?
Organizing.
Sources of energy.
Ma'am, it depends.
Yeah, but you now, according to what you have done, maybe you think that it wasn't very important, but you can present it in such a way that it seems to be very important, right? So, what was your role in it? What you did, that you can present in such a way that it is credible, right? Okay, computer science project made a gate entry system. Group project, which now when you talk about group projects, make sure your role in the group is very different, right? So, and if you go on to community service, like if you were, maybe you didn't do something very significant. Now, if you have done something very significant, have made a difference, always mention it, right? And if you have done something which is not very big, but still your participation in it and why was it important to you can be mentioned, right? Like this one also talks about help students of 10th grade to clear doubts and grasp critical concepts. So teaching, you can talk about being a peer tutor, right? So helping others, communicating, that is important. Now in this one, the skill sets mentioned is technical. In technical head, it comes up to Microsoft Office, fundamentals of MySQL, SQL, Python and R, communication, screenwriting, poetry writing, debate, public speaking, languages, English, Hindi, Gujarati. So any mother tongue also you can mention how fluent you are. If you have any foreign language skill, please do mention it. Yeah, even if it is at a basic level, do mention it. So this was the sample one that we spoke about. Now if we see, maybe the achievements are not very great, but still you can present it in such a way that it is good. And if you have any Can you see the screen again? This is another sample. So objective is there. We can have a different objective. But this one is specifically related to computer science. Now your basic details go in. Then coming to achievements, this one has a course done, Udemy CS 101 bootcamp, applied basics. Okay, when you are writing about any course done, don't have to go into too much details, but the basic technical details should be there. And everything comes down to one bullet point, right? And if you think that, okay, academic achievements are not too many to mention, or co-curricular activities are not too many to mention, you can club them into one head, right? So if you club them into one head, maybe 3 or 4 points come up. Then it talks about house team member participated in track and field events, secure second place, this was about the relay, attained brown belt in karate, won silver in state level, gold in national level, participated in education competition, debate on saving the environment. So when you talk, okay, another thing, don't just mention education and debate. So if you are mentioning debate, because I think at least in the 10th standard, you should have participated in quite a few activities. Have you? Rachel? Rachel, can you mention a couple of activities you have participated in?
Ma'am, I know black belt in martial arts.
Pardon?
I have a black belt in martial arts.
Okay, that is worth mentioning. And along with the black belt, what about some competitions?
Ma'am, I have won state and national level.
Yeah, so that you need to mention, right?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Ma'am, actually, I've heard a lot that MUNs don't really matter too much in the resume, but I've been the Secretary General of quite a few MUNs till now, and I've been the ambassador of a few as well. So, note like showing that in the resume, would that hold value, or is it the same for like?
No, you can mention, here you mention it under your leadership position, not just as an activity.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you say you were the secretary, so what was your role as the secretary? That is important. Right? So what you managed, what you did, that would be important. Just participating in MU and everybody does, so we don't count it. But if you mention that I had a strong leadership role, that will count. Right? Okay. Viva, okay, Utkarsh, what other activity can you think about?
Ma'am, I was a part of debate competitions. Are you talking about like leadership positions or co-curricular activities?
Co-curricular?
Co-curricular activities. Mm,
Say in the 9th, 10th, anything worth mentioning? Yes, Krish?
Ma'am, actually, I have a doubt that our church organized an essay competition, and in that I got second prize. So, does it matter in resume?
At what level was it?
Okay, I can't say about the level.
Okay, so how many participants were there?
There were around 20.
20 participants. So you could mention it. You can mention that you can mention it like when you talk about co-curricular activities, you can mention writing skills. So have you participated in other essay writing competitions also apart from that?
Like in church, I have participated, and in school, like one
In
or two
school you
few times.
have. Okay. So you can mention it like you can say writing skills or essay writing skills, participated successfully and won awards for essay writing competitions, you can say. And if it was a specific topic which is of great importance, you can mention the topic also.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay? You can do that. But that would be good if you have participated in school also. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sorry, Utkarsh, I disturbed you. So any other activity?
Ma'am, one more thing, ma'am. I have not really contributed in terms of community service as well. But I actually used to run like not used to. I still do. I run marathons for different causes. Like in case of Navi Mumbai, it's for flamingos, then for cancer, then women child. So basically, all of those things do that. Do running marathons matter in community service, or do they have to be in the form of uh, those NGO volunteering
They will
things?
be coming under community service if you are saying that they work for a specific cause.
Okay.
Right? So marathons for specific causes, and then you can mention two of the most important ones, right? Or you can mention run marathon on a regular basis for specific causes. For example, you can mention two of them, right? So saving the environment or collecting funds for specific cause, that would count. And running marathons, of course, would count.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, Viva, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
So can you think what activities could you mention in co-curricular?
Ma'am, I played sports like football, handball at district level from school. Then I used to play taekwondo. I have red belt and I've won at national level.
So what you will mention. So in your co-curricular activities, so if you have more than 3 co-curricular activities to mention, you can put it into a separate head. Or if you think that you want to just combine academic and co-curricular achievements together, you can do that. And make sure you carry your certificates.
We have to carry all the certificates there.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever interview you go to, always carry your certificates.
Ma'am, I mean, I have most of the certificates, but what if I've lost some or I don't have it currently?
The important ones you must be having at least the national level competitions.
Yeah, those I have.
Yeah. So those you mentioned see if you have a national level competition to mention and a district level competition, which is more important?
National level.
National. So you first mention your national level competition and then you mention various district level.
Okay. So we have to name it like, or just I played at national level.
So if it is specific, you can it will be good to name it.
Okay. Yeah.
So be as specific as possible. But if
Okay.
you just say national level, various national level competitions, that doesn't make much of a difference or that doesn't catch the eye. Instead, if you name a specific competition and you are carrying your certificate also, that makes a difference.
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, and
Ma'am, also I used to bake and sell, like not at a large scale, but to relatives and friends. So would that count in something?
I didn't get it. What was it?
What, ma'am?
I didn't get it. Can you clarify?
Ma'am, I used to bake and sell it to my relatives and friends and like in a small circle. So does it count? Should I write it somewhere?
Very important.
What?
If you can't find anything else, maybe you can mention that.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, whatever you mention, it should fit into one page. So if you have something extra you have mentioned and it is going beyond the page, then you can just delete the ones which are not very important.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Like you were mentioning that during sorry, on the interview days we have to take our physical certificates, the copies of our certificates with us in that same file uh, as like evidences. So if let's say I used to make YouTube videos on finance for kids. Right, I did that from 9th standard to 11th standard. I stopped it due to 12th and entrance and whatever the saga of events was. So, how do I like take the evidence of that particular YouTube channel that I used to work on in those 3 4 years?
Link of the YouTube channel where you are mentioning that I this is what I did. So if you say I created YouTube channels for on this particular subject for kids, and you can just give a link to that. So
Okay.
if anyone is interested, they will look up the link. So you have evidence in the form of a link,
Okay.
right? Because otherwise you can't carry any evidence for that. So you just give the link. It still exists.
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Yeah, so then no problem.
Okay.
If you have created a website for something, you can mention the link.
Okay, ma'am.
So this is what we, okay, now coming to leadership position, be specific about your leadership positions, right? If you have led a group, if you have, say, even in create, like you said, MUN, you were the Secretary General. And so you mentioned your role, that important role that you played as the Secretary General, that will be your leadership. Right? Say you led a particular campaign in school, that would be in your leadership position. So your co-curricular activities you can divide into two parts. Some could be participation, and the others, if you had a leadership role in that activity, put it into leadership position. Right? Are people following?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, community service, you have to think of what you have done. So, as Utkarsh said, he ran marathons for a cause that can be mentioned. If you have, like, over the years, every year in school, you have participated in a particular activity and you have had a leadership role in it, mention it under community service and how you made a difference. Like organize something, even if it is on a small scale, you can mention. But not too many, which is, okay, another thing, avoid mentioning things that every other student would be mentioning, right? So maybe all students in your school have participated in environment weeks, right? And everyone has gone into planting samples. So what difference have you made? How can you mention it differently? So you can say that we created awareness weeks related to environmental issues, right? Maybe you could talk about converting barren lands into gardens instead of just mentioning that we went into planting saplings. See, say what difference it made, right? So just mentioning something a little differently, mentioning something that how it made a difference is more important than just saying that you participate. Okay? Like visiting old age homes or orphanages, usually we do. But if you have done something specific related to it, then you can mention. Right? Rachel?
Yes, ma'am.
So, what community service would you mention?
No, no, I don't have any on that field.
You would have participated in some sort of community service through your church.
Yes, ma'am, in donating food I have.
Yeah, so you can mention that.
Ma'am, and also I was in the eco club during school, and we planted trees in the school ground. And
So if you're talking about planting trees, then make sure you mention it in such a way that it is interesting and seems to be something very important. Yeah, so it's like when you're talking about doing things for the environment, then you can talk about, you can begin with identifying a problem and then doing an activity to solve the problem, right? So maybe you participated in Clean India movement. Every single student has participated in that. So you could mention it differently as part of the Clean India movement, what you actually did, right? Converted, say, a garbage dump into a garden, or cleaned an area and made sure that that area was free of infections, right? So that way you can mention what you did and make it sound very important. Okay. Okay. Now, when you come to the skill sets, you can mention computer proficiency, because see, computer proficiency, even basic knowledge of the computer languages is important, because you will be requiring it in your course also. So computer literacy won't mean just to be able to use Word or Excel. That is no longer considered any important skill. So if you know any computer language, if you know coding, or if you have done any course related to that, that is not mentioned. And here they have mentioned languages spoken. So any languages spoken, no matter how many they are, you can mention. So this is a short resume. Specifically, you mention your extracurricular activities and leadership skills, right? Got this? So now in the Word file that you have, the format, you can start at least writing, okay, on a, maybe not on that, maybe on a piece of paper, you can write down the important academic achievements. Yeah, can you all do that? I had actually got printouts for you, but you're in classroom, so at least you can start with that. Yes, Utkarsh, Krish,
Yes,
Viva.
ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, write down at least 2 or 3 academic achievements if you can. If you have taken up any course, you can write that course also.
Ma'am, Olympiads count as academic achievements or co-curriculars?
Olympiads can come into academic. So if you are not very sure at some point of time that whether you want to create co-curricular or academic achievements, you can combine co-curricular and academic and put them into bullet points. Safest thing to do. So you can think about things you have done in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. And if there is something very significant in the 7th or 8th, you could mention. Maybe you stood first in the Olympiads, or you got a very high ranking, that could be mentioned.
Ma'am, in the courses section, I completed a course by IIM Ahmedabad, but it had no barrier to entry as such. It was on Coursera. It was basically on leadership skills. Since it did not have any barrier to entry, should I mention it or should I not?
You have done the course and learned something from it, it's worth mentioning.
Yes, I've learned from it. It had a barrier to exit, but did not have a barrier to entry. So,
That's okay. Even if you haven't completed the course as yet, you can mention. You can say, I'm doing the course, or I did this course, and this is what these are the skills I learned from it.
okay.
So, Krish, what do you have for your academic achievements? Anything?
Excuse me? Could you please repeat?
I can't hear you clearly.
I can't hear you.
I could hear what you were saying. It wasn't very clear.
Ma'am, what did you ask me?
I asked, what did you write for academic achievements? Anything specific?
Like I have black belt in karate and I have got bronze in fighting. Then I have gold medal in abacus competition. Then I have passed an exam for piano with distinction. Then I have participated in many marathons for like social causes. Then
All these you can mention.
yes, ma'am.
So if it is for social causes, then you can mention it in the community service,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And if you have won anything, like you said, in your martial arts, you have won anything, then those go into your co-curricular achievements or activities. So you can mention it this way if you don't have too many in each of the heads, then achievements, academics, and co-curricular activities will. So at least 3 or 4, if you can mention, it would be a little impressive. Rachel, what did you write? Rachel, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I
Rachel.
will.
Anything related to academic achievements?
Ma'am, I have in abacus.
Okay. Which standard?
I was in third grade.
Fourth grade.
Yeah.
Fourth grade, abacus. Wouldn't
No,
really.
in not in abacus. I was in third grade in school. I was yeah doing abacus.
So any achievements in the 9th and 10th? Or 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th? Or even in the 8th?
I'm actually in Udemy. I have some courses which I was doing.
You can mention the courses then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can mention courses. See, it need not be that you stood first, you got, say you scored 100. No, even if you have participated, you have done some courses, that is what we see. What you are mentioning in your resume is over and above what you have filled up in the form. So these are things that you want the panel to know about you so that they can ask questions about you. So that is the purpose of the resume for you when you are going for an interview. So this is not just like when you are going for a job interview, it would be your resume would be showing your skills, which you have achieved so far. Now, as a just completed 12 standard, you can mention things you have done so far, which are like according to you are important and you want the admission committee or the interview panel to be aware of, right? So this is what you will do. In a nutshell, you will be mentioning things so that when they look at your resume, they will be like, okay, this is what you've done. This seems interesting. Tell us something more about it, right? Okay, so everyone has got an idea of what to fill in,
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
right? Any questions on this?
no.
No, ma'am.
Okay, another thing that I need to mention, I'll share that with you on the group. Um, guidelines I have created for you people. I will be sharing it anyway. Can you see the screen? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So here are some guidelines which these we have already discussed. What you have to fill up. Now headings should be clear. Address, you have to see whether you can put in your address or not. At least your email ID should be there. Maybe your phone number if you want to share on the resume. Your academic profile, achievements, co-curricular activities. So co-curricular activities and academic achievements can go together. Extracurricular activities, if you have more than 3, then put it into a different head. Experience as in if you have done any say internship, any summer programs, then you can mention it separately. Skills, skill sets as in the sample you can mention. Volunteer experience we did talk about. Now, if you have any specific hobby, that also you can mention, but don't mention reading as my hobby, right? If you have like you do like art, any specific type of art is your hobby, and you do it very well. Maybe you have some hobby for collecting something unique. You can mention that. But remember, your whatever you mention, it should be unique, not something that every other person does. Okay, now coming to the order of information that you will be presenting. Your contact information is there, education details would be there, experiences, awards, and another thing when you are mentioning your, say, you go into the head of academic achievements, your most recent, whatever, even your activities, most recent activity or achievement comes first. Then you go backwards in chronological order to the previous achievements or activities. And yeah, you can begin here. This is important. Do not begin with I, as I already said, and always begin with an action verb. Say organize something. If you're talking about leadership role, lead the group. That way you can mention. And do not use first person. And always use active words. Another thing is very important. Or your entire resume should be in active voice and all voice, right? And when you write your final resume, maybe you can share it with us. Okay, when writing here, there are few suggestions to write your objective. The first thing you write is your objective. So here are the suggestions. You can write your own objective as you wish to. So this also I will share with you so that you have your details, right? So now any further questions to be you have in mind? Anyone? Utkarsh? Any doubts, questions?
No, ma'am.
No? So make sure your resume is crisp and you have your important information which you want the admission committee to know, and you think that the entire form that you have filled in doesn't have that particular information. Okay? So I hope this is helpful. Yes? Rachel? Any questions?
No.
No? Okay, so then that's it for today. Right? And Now tomorrow and day after, it would be good if you people come to class. So like interview preparation, it is best to do it one-to-one in person, right?
Ma'am,
So
I live in Ghansoli. It won't be possible for me.
it won't be possible for you to come over. What about Krish, Rachel? Chris, you can come over.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm? So it would be good if you come over. So Chris, how was your exam? I think I did ask you.
Like for me, it's quants was very tough, like tough.
Hmm. So
Verbal ability was like easy to moderate for me.
how many questions were you able to attend?
I don't know, like I couldn't count much. Like I could do majority of the questions in verbal ability, but in quants, uh, it was not much.
See, once I think was a little tough for everybody. So we'll see what the cutoffs come out, right?
Ma'am, based on the responses that you've received from other students as well, ma'am, what would be, your sort of uh, safe attempting, like safe attempting, I won't say score, but the number of questions to be attempted in the exam?
Since that depends upon like overall, depends upon all India how many questions students have attempted. So if I talk about once, how many did you attend?
I can't hear you properly, ma'am. So in quants, what did you ask?
I said, how many did you attend?
In quants, in the first section, I attempted 12 questions accurately, and the other three, I just uh, put some values like calculated guesses, but I'm not sure if they're right. Then in the second section, I attempted around 15 to 16 questions. So for me, quant did not seem as heavy, but verbal ability, I was threw off by the first reading comprehension. It was very tough for me because it was totally based on inferences, and you cannot find direct answers like what happened in other RCs. Then so that is why in usually in mocks I used to attempt around 42 to 44 questions out of 45 in verbal ability. But in the exam, I don't know how I tried to play safe and not make many guesses and not listen to my gut feeling that much. So I attempted around 38 to 39 questions as far as I remember.
That sounds good. So say in the Quants MCQ, around if you attended above 15, um, 15 to 20 would be decent enough. In
Okay.
the short answer section, also short answer section was, I think, comparatively easier. So around say 20 and above would be good.
Ma'am,
And
20 and above, as in like there are only 15 questions in the first section.
okay, short answer was only 15 questions. Yeah. So yeah, I think short answer section usually people said that they attended around 8 to 10 questions maximum.
It was almost the exact same difficulty as of 2024.
Right. And I think towards the end in the MCQ section, no, in the short answer section, there were some logical reasoning questions also,
Yes,
which
they were easy.
reach, some of them didn't reach. So let's see. Now, right now, it's difficult to say how many you should have attempted and what the cutoff will be, because it all depends upon overall how the students have fared. So
Okay.
don't think much about that. Let's wait and see.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
anyway, you prepare for your interview, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we'll see because wherever you apply, interview is important and it's around 30% to 50% weightage. So your interview should go well.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, then thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And let's see if you people can come to the branch, it would be good. Otherwise, make sure you do attend.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.